just before Nollsie kicks off his chat with Guy Sebastian. A quick reminder that he is about to celebrate the 20th anniversary of his That's What I'm Talking About debut album with a national tour that starts on April 5 on the Sunshine Coast and then follows with shows in Brisbane, Geelong, Ballarat, Canberra, Thirroul, Melbourne, Warragul, Newcastle, Rooty Hill and Sydney, Adelaide, Perth, Moreton, Margaret River, Toowoomba and Tamworth. You can get tickets for those shows now, and they are all ages shows, at shannonnoll.com. He's also releasing a special 20th anniversary edition of that debut album on April 5, which includes some live rare recordings of songs from that original album, as well as, of course, the original album itself. There's also 2 new songs, including the new single Don't You Want to Stay with Cosima Vito. You can get pre-order packages with merch items or even a signed pre-order album by going to shannonnoll.com. Now on to the podcast.
G'day guys, welcome to today's episode of Idol Talking with Nollsie and the start of Season 2. Today I have a very, very special guest, possibly our most requested so far. He's one of Australia's most successful recording artists and certainly one of my favourites. Tim, let us know who we've got in the show, buddy.
Okay, mate. Well, today's guest, he defeated you in Season 1 of Australian Idol.
Landslide. I heard it was a landslide.
Just 20 years ago. It's over 20 years ago now. And has gone on to have an amazing recording and live career with nearly 4 million album sales, 7 platinum or better albums, 6 ARIA #1 singles and 2 ARIA #1 albums. His song Battle Scars is 8 times platinum in Australia and also platinum in the US. He's even performed for the Queen and Oprah. But most importantly, right now, he's just released a new single, Antidote, with Sam Fisher, which is absolutely fantastic. So please welcome Guy Sebastian.
Hey!
Mate, for starters, thanks so much for coming on the show. We're actually in your gorgeous studio.
I've set up a Bunnings table with a beach towel as
That's
the,
right.
as the
That's
table
all
mat.
surrounding stuff, mate.
But the mics are on, they can hear us.
Everything's
and
working.
this is the first time you've been to this house.
It is,
Which
man.
is awesome.
Absolutely.
It's good to
No,
have you.
I'm stoked to finally get here, mate. You know, I mean, just seeing what you, over the years talking about building and that, doing different things. You know, it's been it's stoked to see it finished. It's amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely
finally.
gorgeous, especially the studio.
Did get finished finally.
Yeah, I know.
Took a minute.
It took a minute. Oh, but mate, thanks for doing this. I really, really appreciate it. This is going to help the show heaps.
Mate, it's good you're doing a podcast. I've always said that Nollsie's got great chat.
Yeah, well,
Really good
we
chat.
have a lot of fun together. That's why I reckon this one will be great because people don't. I mean, everyone sort of looks back on the show and the way the media portrayed us both as, you know, you're either Guy or you're Shannon. Couldn't be further from the truth how we were actually together. Like we totally got each other's sense of humour because we're mates. You know, we spent that time together. Once you go through something like that together, you're bonded from then. You know. And
I don't even remember. I don't even remember thinking about especially towards the end. My head was not even remotely in the competition side of stuff. Because I knew at that stage, remember when Ed St. John came in and he said, we're signing both of you guys.
Yeah.
And I think I was really nervous and I was being all like you know, I'm not having a drink until the show. Once he said that, I think we both had a drink before the actual show.
Absolutely.
Because ultimately that's what we wanted. We just wanted to, you know, and it was a whirlwind. Like it wasn't much
it was crazy,
real estate to think of anything else except for how nuts our lives
were
changing. It was just a lot. I felt like I was sort of a bit dizzy from it all. It's very hard to take in.
Well, we were coveted from a lot of it too. Like we weren't privy to what was actually happening out in the real world. We were locked away and they wouldn't let us see any social media. Or there wasn't any social media.
Well, there wasn't social media.
Then anyway.
Remember there was the forums, but we
That's
weren't,
right. We weren't allowed to look at them, yeah.
Well, we weren't on them.
No.
I wasn't on. I know some of the other contestants, they would jump on the forums and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was ready for that world. Imagine doing what we did then. Now with social media,
Yeah.
it's just
absolutely.
different.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the social media things. It's with all the great stuff. There's a lot of bad stuff comes with it too.
Yeah.
Especially being in a situation like that when you're under so much pressure.
And judgment.
That's the biggest thing, because the one comic would, especially back then, you were so fragile enough as it was, because just any tiny little thing that could go wrong would just bring the whole house of cards down. I thought, like if forget one word, like it was a 10-second delay on the show, I think, from like on the broadcast. So you forget a lyric, or you drop a mic, or you trip on the massive stage, which is what they got, and it's done. It's all over.
Like back then, it shows are pre-recorded now.
Yeah, that's right, absolutely. Yeah.
That was literally live. So
absolutely
you
live.
Forget the words, you're screwed.
Yep.
But I think also, I don't think we were necessarily people who had grown up in, I grew up in a small, outer suburbs of Adelaide. You were obviously from Condo.
Yeah.
I don't think it wasn't really a reality for us growing up to be famous singers.
Sort of.
For me, I was like, it was never an actual achievable dream.
No, I never even thought about it. Yeah.
I think that added to the fact that we were like, what, like.
Yeah,
what are we doing
gobsmacked?
here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Me and you. I'm like fuzzy head, chubby, weird looking Malaysian, half everything.
On the screaming, screaming piece of wood or wood.
The plank.
The plank. That's it. The screaming.
I forgot about the plank. That's right.
Screaming wood.
Who called you the plank? Is that Dicko?
I suppose he gave me heaps there for a while. He looked like he walking up the line in a deli queue or something like that. And I'm going like, what's a deli? We haven't got any of them back at home. What's a deli?
Mate, there was a lot of things said back then.
You mean a cafe?
I mean, it's crazy to think also how much times have changed. I mean, I'm on The Voice now.
Yeah. That's a question that I've got for you. Like, how does that differ? Light years, I would expect, from actually being on the other end now. Like, put yourself in Dick. Well, you are in Dicko's shoes and all that sort of stuff, and Mark Holmes now. Like, how's that feel to be all of a sudden on the other side of the?
I love it.
Thing?
It's such a good gig, but I think the part that I like the most about The Voice is I feel safe in that environment, because we're not. They're really quick to correct us if we say the word judge. Like we're not judges, we're coaches, and even when there's like a no chair turn and we, no one turns around and they don't get through, we are so kind to them and so positive and give them heaps of feedback. We'll jump up, do a duet with them. Like Keith Urban might jump up and play guitar with them. Anything we can do to make them feel special. And so I feel like, for my personality, I can go into that space and I don't...
Be comfortable doing that. Yeah,
I'm comfortable doing that, and I won't feel terrible about it.
No,
I'm not great at, as you know, being super confrontational and
mean to people.
And mean. Yeah. I'm not really down for that. But I think it's... one major thing I will say is I feel... I feel like an old person now saying this sort of stuff. Back in the day, I'd walk to school barefoot, 30 kilo school bag.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is we were in the complete dark. You remember, right?
Yeah,
we would choose our own song.
Yep.
Like pretty much just go, this is the sort of arrangement I want. We'd work with John Foreman.
Yep.
You chose it. No one's in your head going, right. I'm going to design this. I'm your coach. I'm going to design this stage for you. I'm going to make sure that I think, you're a jazz singer. I think you could really kill it if you modernized your sound and combined like what we do on The Voice for artists.
Yep.
It's like A&Ring as well. Like you're trying to point them into a direction of like, okay, after the show, this is what you should do.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were just like, all right, what song are you choosing? The theme is blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And we'd have to just choose a song.
That's right, yeah.
And I remember the first live show, I think it was the first one, I sang this Jackson 5 song. It was called The Love You Save. Mm-hmm. And it was first of the top 12 live shows.
Yep.
And I think I nearly went out that night because to me, everyone knew that song because I'd seen it I used to watch this movie called Jackson 5, The American Dream. It was like this two-part movie. It's sick. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And that song was one of my favourites off the show. So they asked me, what songs are you doing? And I was like, I've got this song, The Love You Save. They're like, hey? I was like, yeah, you know, that Jackson 5, okay, no worries. No one said to me, oh, it's not very popular.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one really knows that.
Yep.
Why don't you do
Yep.
ABC or I Want You Back? You know,
Yeah,
everyone knows
that's
those
right.
ones.
Yeah.
So I've sung it. I thought I did a great job. And then Marsha, Dicko and Mark Holland are like, what the hell is that song? Like, of all the songs,
why would you pick that?
Why'd you pick that one?
Because I like it.
And I was like, oh, I thought everyone knew it. But I was also very sheltered. Like I grew up like a church kid that, you know, like I didn't really listen to heaps of other music. So it was a bit of a sheltered upbringing. So I didn't know what was popular as far as like music goes. And I felt like we were really in the dark. So it makes me feel like, you know, I think it's a great place for these artists to come on shows.
Yeah,
these
it makes
days.
you feel better about it. About the guidance.
Yeah, and it's pre-recorded. If something terrible goes wrong, you give it another crack or whatever.
Yep.
I think it's, no, I love doing The Voice. It's I still say, I'm careful to say this because I feel like it's the easiest gig I've ever done. Yep. Not because it's easy, because it's really hard. It's tiring.
But you can
the days are like
relate
15 hours. But I think because I enjoy it and I feel like I'm
suits you for it,
and I just feel like I can say what I feel. You know, like I can articulate how I'm feeling, and I can dissect a performance and go, this is what's good, this is what's rubbish or whatever. And whereas another coach might go, oh, hardest gig ever, because they're it made me realise actually even just talking and speaking your thoughts and communicating, articulation, it's such a gift.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially
really
something
is.
that you're connected to that you've got experience and history with. Because straight away you don't have to search for the description or whatever you're trying to say. It just comes out because you're used to it, because you that's your world.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, which is great.
I never have anything planned, of what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
My thing is what I see, I'll
react.
Yeah,
it's
I'll
just,
react.
Yeah, that's great.
No, that's good.
That's great.
We need to get you on.
It's great for the kids, but
yes,
it's great for the contestants, that is, because like you said, there was so much going on with Idol. I think, you know, the whole bad judge, good judge and all that sort of stuff. Oh, I mean, Dicko was great at it, but he was also, he wasn't out of his, he was nasty to me a couple of times, I suppose. No, but he went.
Mate, my first audition.
He didn't go out of his way to because most of the time when he said something that everybody sort of went, like a lot of people were thinking it anyway.
Yeah, but I think the difference is, right, it's hard for people to understand it when they look at it from now, because the yardstick's moved, right?
Absolutely.
That's not the saying, is it? The goalposts.
You know,
the goalposts have moved.
Yeah.
And so I think Dicko, because we both know him, right? He's a really good guy. He's a really nice bloke. Yep. He's really caring.
Yeah, he is.
Goes out of his way for anyone. Yeah. The difference is he was playing a role.
Yeah, because by nature he's the last thing, the furthest thing from a nasty person.
No, exactly.
Yeah, he's lovely, really heartfelt, gentle, considerate guy. Yeah, just really smart.
And I know,
and he's a good piss taker.
He is.
Because the whole family does that.
He is articulate.
He's really smart. Yeah,
he's so clever. But I mean, he looks back on some of the things. You know, and I've been asked about some of the things. There was the famous Paulini moment, obviously, which is really hard to watch. But I think because we went through that time, I always knew not that it justifies it, but I always knew Dicko was. It was almost acting. Back in those days, whereas now it's like you're a coach on The Voice or you're an Idol judge or whatever. You're being yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
But they needed that position to be the Simon Cowell.
They had the Simon Cowell. Yeah. And that's where it came from. That whole bad judge thing, you know. And just Dicko was the only one who was capable of filling that role, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So these are other questions. Contestant of a talent show versus the judge, which is harder?
Oh, definitely contestant. Oh my God. Yeah. No, Idol was. See, when I think about The Voice, I reckon it's even more difficult. Yep. Because at least when we walked out onto the audition stage, we had 6 eyes staring back at us. Yeah. Right. Yep. On The Voice, they're walking out, it goes dead quiet, and the lady on the floor says, "Artist walking," and they approach 4 bloody chairs.
Like you're going to get strung up or something. Yeah, dead man walking.
It's literally like the 8 Mile, right? Yeah. And so they walk, and they've got an audience, and the audience is quiet because they're told to be quiet for that first initial part, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
everything is, you can hear a pin drop, and there's just the back of chairs, and then you start your song. And no one's turned yet. Even if they're great, right? We don't always turn straight away. We're waiting for them. You know, someone's singing Chandelier. I'm not turning till they go, no, that's it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not turning before you hit that.
Oh, you got it. You can't. No.
Yeah, even if they're amazing,
no,
right?
that's right.
I'm waiting for the test moment.
Absolutely. And that's what that is exactly, because some people can nail that first part but then haven't got the range for the top part.
Exactly. But you imagine being that person who is starting that song and it's getting to that moment, but they're also thinking, why has no one turned? Like no one's turning, and they think to themselves, I've got to do more.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times they overcook it because they're trying to get a chair turn.
They start to panic.
They panic.
Yeah.
And so, you know, then you hit a moment in a song that you're already a bit nervous about.
Yeah.
I'm going to scream,
which is a massive jump. Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I feel like that's even worse, just staring at the back of chairs.
Oh, I think it'd be hard. Yeah, absolutely. Because you can't. Yeah. I mean, I closed my eyes in the first one just when I was just the first time in front of Mark.
What was
Marshall
your audition song again?
Hold Me in Your Arms.
Oh,
but I actually did Ben before that. It's funny you say before about the Jackson 5. I did Ben at the start.
As in your very first?
Very first one, when
audition.
it was before the judges were even in the room.
Oh, okay.
And Greg Burness was there, the producer, and he said, have you got any Australian songs? And I went, actually I have. Because that day in the room when there was 1,500, I got there at 5:30, there was 2,000 people in front of me, 4,000 behind me or something. And then there's 1,500 in a holding room. And whilst I was sitting in that holding room, I just popped into my head, Hold Me in Your Arms from Southern Sons. And I hadn't thought about that song in 10 years. And then when he said, have you got anything Australian? I went, yes. Yeah. Matter of fact, I just worked out something.
And not an easy song,
No.
Especially because there's falsetto and...
I know, that's right. Yeah. If you start in the wrong place, because it's a cappella,
you
end up in a world of hurt because you start going, I'm not going to get the top part. Now I started too high.
I was talking about that period of music just yesterday, actually, in an interview. That little period of Aussie music, because I just did the single with Sam Fisher, right?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about that too.
I can't remember many male duets, right? We should do one.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know, I remember back in the day, I was lucky enough, both of us were, to grow up in a period of unbelievable male voices, especially soft rock acoustic voices. So there was Southern Sons, you had Jack Jones.
Yep.
Or Erwin Thomas, and then you had Rick Price,
absolutely,
Farnham, Barnsey, John Stevens, all of these.
Yeah, John's a monster,
beast singers,
absolutely,
and then even internationally, people like Richard Marx and all those really great male singers, and I don't know. I feel like I was lucky. Yeah. We were both lucky.
I wrote with Richard Marx in Nashville.
That's right. I remember that.
He said he took me out one night. He said, "Oh, my saxophone player every time," because he's from. Not there anyway. he had to fly into Nashville for the 2 days, a couple of sessions. Yeah. And his saxophone player says every time every time I'm in town, the saxophone player says, come down to this. It's a little writing night, songwriters night at the library. Yeah. He said, there'll probably only be 50, 60 people there. Do you want to come down? I said, yeah, that'd be great. So I went down with him, and then sure enough, the saxophone player said, oh, my friend's here. We're all lucky to have him here. Could we get him to sing a song? So I kid you not, Richard Marx got up and went, yeah, okay. And he's literally sat 6 foot from me with acoustic guitar and played Hazard.
Oh,
I saw that like a boy from Condom, his jaws hit the floor. Jeez. I'm just going like, is this actually happening?
And it was him writing together as a dream.
Man. Oh, he was great. He was so good, He's such a great guy, but he's worked so hard to get his break, He knocked down.
I saw him
every
recently.
door.
He did. I think he was going off at something.
Did he? Yeah, I don't know. He comes out and tours heaps.
Spat the dummy.
Oh, did he?
I haven't read it.
Inevitably, that happens to everyone in this business.
Yeah. I don't think he was in the wrong. I
just got mine out of my system early.
Mate, you've been very under the radar.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
We've both
enough
contributed.
Well, in saying that too, there's a question about that I can't find. Tim, do you remember that question you had about?
The question essentially is: there have been times when you've both copped flack in the media, as celebrities do. How have you handled that? It is very difficult.
It's hard, yeah. I think I don't reckon it gets easier. I try and tell myself it does, but I think you just panic when now that I've got kids.
Like
it's just, the stakes are a lot higher, and I know that anything that's in the media, my sons are at the age where they can be bullied for stuff or whatever, and
they're going to read it.
And
their friends are going to hear it.
Yeah. And so I think I don't know. I feel like I had to just come to terms with something that was probably the worst thing about me going through Idol, which is. I just thought I could please everyone.
Yeah.
I just thought I could get by and just
you can't. It's the hardest part.
You just can't.
No.
And people are going to hate you, and they'll hate you for things that aren't even true.
Yeah.
And it's up to you whether you want to spend your energy trying to defend something which is you're never going to.
There's no winning.
You can't win, right?
There's no win.
So
nothing to gain.
Yeah, if you go on Twitter, right, everyone will say I'm a Hillsong Pentecostal. They'll bring up Scott Morrison, for example, right? They'll bring up, because I did the arts. I got asked. Now, who asked me to do that? That was ARIA and APRA, our two music bodies in Australia. Said, hey, we need this so bad for our industry, and now I'm not political, right? It was a silly move. I didn't know. I just didn't know, right?
You're just not thinking anything of it at the time.
No, I thought
if it had been Albo, you would have done it as well.
Yeah.
Whoever was Prime Minister, right? I remember when we were on the show and I met John Howard, right? And to me, I moved here when I was 6 years old, right? My parents, they're immigrants to here, and they've worked their asses off. They've paid their taxes. They've done
wonderful people. Your parents and your whole family is lovely people.
Yeah, but they were absolutely over the moon to me.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister, that is such a proud moment in their lives,
Absolutely,
and one of they feel included and part of the country, and the Prime Minister's meeting them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've just never really been politically inclined, but fast forward, I do this arts package thing.
Yeah.
I'm not in control of where the money goes. I have no idea, but I followed up. But even beyond that, I got all of my band members, crew to basically give me their experiences of COVID, how they're going to cope once they turn off the payments. And then I put that forward to to Scott Morrison. He's all the economists and all the treasurer. So I felt like I was just doing what I could
for the industry.
But I did not know that suddenly then you're like, he must be this this political party and he stands for this.
Absolutely.
But it was the same thing, right? So when I was on Idol, they've seen me singing at church. So everything bad about this big mega church or that big mega he does that stuff too, I think. And so
guilty by association.
And I think you met me right at at the end of kind of I'd been singing in church for years.
Absolutely.
And had, it's where I met my wife. It's where I learnt my chops musically.
Absolutely. You toured.
I've got so much to be grateful for. But I think, I've always known it's and that's why I've never addressed things like Hillsong when some current affair things on or whatever. I get asked all the time in interviews or whatever. But I just don't, I'm not going to go, I'm not this or I'm not that. Because I think you met Krishan, for example, right? One of my best friends who's a pastor there. JD, all these there are beautiful people. And just in any large mass of humans, there's going to be a few that just do a few silly things,
course,
right?
Absolutely.
So I've never wanted to talk about those sort of things.
No.
So
I don't know.
I think I learned that lesson. Yeah. It's just don't worry. You'll never change anyone's mind.
No,
let them go on threads and threads and threads of Twitter rants about literally things that aren't even remotely true.
Absolutely. And they've got no evidence or nothing to
zero
back up.
Evidence.
Total assumption.
No.
Total mass assumption.
There was something else someone sent me the other. It had to do with old mate next door, and there was heaps of stuff written in the media that. And it's not people's fault, right? They've read it in the media, but they don't understand how, for example, the legal system works. You can say anything.
Yeah.
It'll get printed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then even when the truth comes out,
it's
not like it's corrected.
No, absolutely.
It's a learning experience. You know, I've read stuff about you that I've gone, actually, no, I've probably thought they're all true.
I could see that coming. I'm going, here we go.
Sounds about right. That sounds like Nollsie.
Deny. I don't believe it.
No, you've gotten off pretty. People love you. People, mate, you are what you are.
Well, I think the thing with me a little bit is I think, I mean, the biggest thing, upsetting part for me is, you know, I'm not denying that I abused that bloke. You know what I mean? In that crowd, in that little town. But the annoying part was me, the parts left out of the story, like, or just total fabrications. Like, Shannon Noll goes on a rant and abuses a person in the crowd after one can was thrown. I'm happy to accept my role in all this, but for goodness sake, at least you can just be honest. Like, I did 55 minutes and there was 30 cans on the stage by the end of that 55 minutes. And there was a tiny little handful of people. The place had 1,500 there the year before, and then there was 9,000 turned up and they had 100 cards. So there's not a chance in hell they were going to control anything.
No.
They nearly burnt the stage down the year before.
Yeah.
And I would have been, out of just being honest and straight up, at least called it how it was and said, no, well, they were just inundated by cans on the stage. My bass player got hit with an empty bottle of rum before we even started.
Yeah.
Like, they were throwing half full beer cans from 40 metres away. They'd like just cave your face in, you know.
Oh, mate.
And plus the venue,
you. Plus like, that can kill you.
Absolutely. And plus on top of that, the organisers of the event itself had 2 cameras with tripods on it on both sides of the stage, which recorded everything.
Yeah.
So they could have gone like, here, mate. No, it was that Shannon put up, like, it was stupid what he had to put up with, just to defend me. But they went, oh, we're not going to even. We'll just pretend we haven't even got them. Yeah. In hindsight, now, you know, I should have got that footage and then, but just go, you know, they hung out to dry. But
I think both of us. I'm not great in many situations where I always walk away, and people would probably think I am quite patient and blah blah blah. But I will, as you know, like I'll blow up over. There's little triggers, right?
Yep.
Where I go, oh, that one.
Yeah, that one's enough.
That one crossed the line.
Because people forget that you're human too, you know what I mean? Like, you know.
And so, but in saying that, I think part of the lesson of, I've always known that the loud negative voice screams at you, while the majority just either doesn't really give a shit, or they do, but they're not. It's not a compelling thing enough to go online and log in.
No,
and go,
that's right.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I always use the example, I've got Logic running behind me, right?
Yep.
When I've never gone onto the Logic forum to go, hey, just wanted to let you know I'm really loving the new features on this new update. You know, I love the shortcut here. Just in case one of the developers read this, well done, mate. Keep going. No one does that.
Yeah.
But when it's buggy and it keeps crashing halfway through a session, everyone jumps on a forum or jumps on like this new update. What the hell? Like people are more compelled to sprout negativity and hate than they are to sprout. Like love's boring.
No, appreciation.
And so I think, even in that situation, it's funny hearing you say that, because I didn't get even remotely the impression that people either thought it was the funniest thing in the world, or they went, good on him.
Yeah,
like, seriously,
that's exactly what happened.
Majority,
that's what happened. My numbers at shows went up 25%. across the board. Like,
man,
just
you
like
start abusing my mums and stuff.
You reckon I've got way more where that came from?
Found the secret.
Wait till I start on the Girl Scouts.
Timmy's got a tour coming up.
There's a tour at the month, so
we need an outburst.
Who can I rip into now?
Who's mum can we
this
call?
is a moment.
Oh, gosh.
You got to do what you got to do, Nollsie. It's we're 20 years deep in this.
I know, and still going strong, mate.
Yeah.
We are. We both are sitting here right now with songs in the top 20.
And we both just released duets, which is awesome, mate. I just saw this.
So tell me about that, mate. Really, like, I want to hear about that, because I got a bit of a taste of it at the show that we did together. I did with you at the Opera House. Which once again, thank you so much.
No, please.
I'm about to say thank you. No, it was such a beautiful memory to revisit, but man,
It was
really emotional.
By far,
And thank you for the kind words, man. It was just beautiful. I remember sitting backstage going, "Oh wow, if he just can come up with that off the top of his head, I'm going to have to write something out because it was really beautiful."
Oh no, mate. Like I said, I don't think about what I say. I just
it was lovely,
my feelings.
Really nice what you said on stage, you know.
But it was to me that was like and also I know you're busy, you know. So when I asked you, I was like, oh, that would be a punish for no. Like he's coming for one song, like that is a punish. He lived like 6 or 7 hours away, or even more.
Yeah, eight driving. Yeah. But I brought the family down, mate, which is, you know, as well as I do. You know, when you're on the road, it's up. You get there, you flat out, you're sound checking, then you're back. You have a shower at the hotel, then you're back to the gig, and then you're back and you're up the next morning, gone to the next place. So you don't. People go like, "Oh, did your family go on tour?" And I go like, all they get to see is a different inside of a different motel room.
Yeah. And,
why would they want to?
And when you're on, like when I'm on tour and my family comes, I can't I can't speak. I can't just go to town for dinner with my family and stuff and chat to everyone. I won't have a voice for the gig.
And because you're in that mindset too, it's just you're there to do a job and it's business, and you're not there to you know, look at the local attractions or whatever. Because you're thinking about
people
the show
don't really
the whole
understand
time
that.
You're there. You know?
Well, my thing
looking
is
at your watch, going like, I've got to get out of here and do sound check.
Yeah.
So you're not really there.
No, but for me, it's also just. I've always known that when I break the discipline, I pay the price.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So if there was one tour where I did 53 or 57 shows on that tour. Yeah. I would do 9 in a row at times, right?
Yeah,
like
that's
7
crazy.
in a row.
I was the same. I did, I think, 43 in 48 days.
Yeah, wow.
Crazy.
Jeez.
13 straight at the end.
Oh,
at the back
my
end
God. I don't think
ridiculous.
I've ever done that. That's insane.
Well, one of them was a duet with Nat Bass. It was only a one-song gig that night, but that bridged the whole 13 together.
Yeah.
And it was for the opening, I think, for the tennis down in Melbourne. We sang "Don't Give Up," and I'm like, going, "Oh, it sounds great," you know. But when I got to it, I'm going like, I've just had 7 in a row.
Yeah.
And I've got to go and fly down to Melbourne, then fly back and catch up with the tour where it was at the time.
And it's those things,
hectic.
the flight. So I'm really, I'm so disciplined on tour as far as like what I eat. Because I know I cannot eat anything with like chili, any tomato-based sauce. I can't have any wine.
Yep.
Like I just don't drink really until the end because everything gives me acid or it does something. And I know that sounds so boring.
Acid's a killer.
Yeah, literally. When I have so many singers ask me for advice and on how to preserve their voice or whatever, and then they're like, I always lose my voice and I think I've got nodules, and I'm like, have you ever tried just maybe taking like some Nexium or something that stops your acid and see if that makes a difference? 90% of the time it's acid.
Yeah, absolutely. Because people don't understand when you're laying down in bed too, you're bathing your vocal cords in acid.
Yeah, it just
so
comes up.
The next day, one of their bright red and inflamed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And for more doctor's advice, please join Nollsie's podcast.
We're not doctors. Disclaimer. Disclaimer. We're not doctors. Don't take medical advice.
No, but you look, the duet. I think you asked me about half an hour ago before I started.
Yeah, because I know you produce heaps. I know Sam's a producer. Did you produce that together?
Yeah, well, Sam came to the studio. I produced the song here in the studio. Sam came over, recorded his vocals here.
Very similar voice to yours too. Parts of that song I was sort of, but then you come in at the end and really blast. He's got a sweet voice, hasn't he?
Oh my God, his voice. I mean, tonally, what I love is that there's parts of his voice that absolutely trump my voice. Like when he's in his falsetto in that first chorus. Yeah, I went to put. Because that whole first chorus Sam sings, and and so I'm producing the vocal in here and kind of trying to divide the song up, and I just had to go in with zero ego, because a lot of the time you'll go, it's a duet, I should sing this much and he should sing that much, and for me I just approached it as tonally, where do our voices sound the best, and you know, like when Sam flicks into his falsetto, when he's in that low chocolatey tone of his, he's just a beast. I felt like we complemented each other. You know, I can sort of belt and do all those big ad libs at the end, and but the song itself, so my drummer Andy Fissenden, he got married. About a year and a bit ago.
I seen you said that. Yeah.
So he said, "You're the antidote to all my problems" in his wedding speech, and the next.
It's funny when you're in that writing frame of mind. Just a comment like that you'll go pop. Even sitting at a cafe, I found, and just you accidentally overhear a conversation with people on the table behind you, and they might say something, you go like, "Oh wow, I've got to remember that." Well, write that down.
No, seriously.
Write that down.
This happened a night ago,
That's
like
so
literally
cool.
one night ago, where I was in conversation. It happens all the time. I think people always think we write songs about just our own life, but we're also sponges for other people's drama.
Absolutely, and journey and process and just experiences, really, yeah.
And I think as a songwriter, you have to have a level of empathy.
Yeah,
like you have to have that feeling of, oh my God, you're going through that. Like, what the hell? That would feel like. And I know you.
Well, hopefully, just human beings are like that, but it's hard and harder.
Not all of them have it. No,
it's
but
harder
like
and harder to find these
someone
days.
was telling me about they're going through a very, very tough time, and I said this thing that came out, and I was like, oh my God, that was so poetic, and I don't even know where it came from, and I wrote it down later. So we constantly betray our private, conversations with friends.
Absolutely, yeah.
But look, Antidote, I'll get the I'll get the voice note. I'll show you what was recorded the day after I went to his wedding.
To his wedding, yep.
I did this the other day in an interview, so I've got to hang on. Look how long it takes to search. That's how many thousands of these voice notes there are. Each letter.
No, yeah, I've got.
So this is 5th of September, 2022.
Yep.
So that's how long ago he got married, and I had. Oh no, that's a different one. Hang on, it's still the 5th. We don't have words yet. So.
No, yeah.
So that the gist of the melodies there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Sam came over the next day, and I'm like, we're talking about music, and I was like, how come your song "This City" took like 2 hours to blow up? And just making sure it's still recording. I just had a little heart attack then. Yeah. And he was like, because I said to him, I added that song probably 2 years and a year and a half on Spotify before it actually went global and blew up. And he goes, I was at rock bottom, almost quit music. I was dropped by my label, by my manager. And I was broke. Like me and Erin, his wife, we were about to move back home and blah blah blah. Yep. And then he said, out of nowhere, "This City," his song started streaming like 100,000, 200,000 a day.
Wow.
And he was like, what's happened here? Like, where's that come from? And it ended up being this TikToker actually DM'd him on Insta and was like, hey, there's this app now called TikTok and it's getting pretty big, and I just added your song and it's had millions of impressions, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
And Sam was like, where do you live? Like, that must be why my song's blowing up. Where do you live? Yep. And he was like, I live in LA. He's like, so do I. Like, and then Sam went to his house and the guy taught him all about TikTok and how it works. And that's how This City blew up. But at that point he was like about to give up. And so he's sharing that story, and then we were both like, let's write Antidote about probably what is definitely our biggest antidote, which is music. It's just got us through so much stuff, and something that no one can take away from us. Like, regardless of where we chart or where whatever our careers are, we've always got music.
It's like doing this from Luke Combs. You heard that one?
No.
Doing this? Oh, you got to. It's like, how many times would you been asked this too? Like, if you weren't, what would you be doing if you weren't doing this?
Oh yeah.
And he goes, I'd be standing on stage on a hot, but singing at a pub somewhere, and he's going like, with lights like lightning running through my veins.
So good.
Couple of brown liquor and a couple of mates in the band, and they'll be rocking the stage.
Dude.
He said it's some dive somewhere or some little pub. But
it's hard to imagine,
so I'd still
right?
be doing what I'm doing now.
What would you be doing?
This, Me?
You would have been asked that question. What's your answer?
No,
when
I'll
you
be
say
still rocking. I love that song so much because it explained that concept to me and answered the question. And I wish I had the creativeness to come up with that answer because it's exactly how I felt about it when I heard his version. Because you'd still be rocking out at a Friday night at a 200 sold out pub in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean?
I always take that question to mean,
if you weren't doing
if
music,
you were tone deaf,
right,
and sung like,
well, that's I sort of. Yeah, well, I don't know. I sort
What
of.
would you?
Oh, I'd probably be in the mines or something. I would be, I'd say. It's because I just operated machinery, big machinery. So, that's the sort of, with no farm anymore, that's sort of the first place young blokes go out there is because of big money. And
What,
they come
in
off farms.
WA or just
No,
wherever?
anywhere. There's just so many mines, open cut, underground.
Yeah.
But it's all big machinery, running big machines, and
Plenty of miners.
Yeah, well, they're just a big money fly out. I
There's
don't know
not
if I'd have
plenty
been
of
any
Shannon
good at it.
Nolls.
No, I'm glad I can sing.
I'm glad you can sing.
Absolutely.
Australia needed Shannon Noll.
They needed us,
Mate, in all seriousness.
They needed us, brother.
They did. I put you in the same category as the Rick Prices and the Jack Joneses and
thanks,
like
mate.
your
Them boys
voice.
are monsters,
Oh,
But it's so funny about the photo we took when we posted it down here. Like there was some media outlets going, "Oh, the photo that Australia needed."
yes.
I thought that was so cool, man.
Why couldn't you do it when you were a bit floppier? Like when you weren't.
I was floppy.
Why'd you? I meant sloppier. That was a bad word to use. I assumed you were floppy.
Until I seen you, I was.
Mate, you were just waiting. You were avoiding me until you were swole as hell.
No, I made sure that we did this shoot down at Maroubra. Just so I could remember.
That was awesome. I actually like, when you post something and you're just so happy to post it. I was so happy to see that
it was
picture.
so good, but it was so good. I mean,
so is the whole country.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was fantastic. So,
at least those old enough.
Yeah, that's right.
That spins me out. Like,
oh no, well, man, I'm
20 years.
I'm nearly 50. 2 years off 50. That's crazy.
Jeez, you're
because
in
my
good
dad
nick.
was 56 when he died. And when I was younger, I thought he was so not in any way even a
unhealthy,
middle aged man.
strong...
He was a older gentleman at 56. And I'm going like I'm 50 and going like I'm not. Someone say that about me, and I'll
at the end
crack
of the
him in
day,
the
though.
chops. You know what I mean? Go call me an old fella.
Get a room though of 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
I think you'd probably stand
40.
out a little bit as someone who's in pretty good nick.
I'm trying.
young at heart.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I'm still an idiot.
I feel weird.
I'll always be one of those.
Oh yeah, that's you and me both. But yeah, I feel because I dress a little stupid sometimes, and I get it.
At least you've got some style, but man.
Well, my thing is
my wife just goes, "You're not wearing that."
Really?
What
Does Roshi get
freaking
stuck
world
in?
would you think that's okay to wear?
Really?
Yeah, just with colour. I'm going like, well, I don't really.
So
give
Roshi
her
gets stuck in.
Yeah, she gives me heaps about wearing stupid clothes.
She's so sweet.
She's looking after me. That or she's trying to send me out there looking like a goof so that nobody's going to try and compete with her.
Well, you've met my best mate, Timbo.
Yeah, he's a champion. Absolutely.
And
Can't play cricket, but... Can't play cricket with shit.
He thinks he can.
Oh, no,
No,
he said, I'll get you out in 3 balls. And I went, no, you won't. Second ball.
Oh yeah, no,
net.
he's a bit of a
We
weapon.
weren't counting yet, were we?
first grade for Southo here.
Yeah, no, he's a gun.
And can
he play golf? How good a golfer is he?
Mate, he's very good.
Yeah.
He's off 4 or 5.
Yeah, no, let's play golf. I like the tequila part of the golf.
If you saw him swing, I don't know if you would think that he's off that 3 or 4.
Natural, gifted sports.
He's just got great hands.
Have you seen Rafael Nadal swing?
Yeah, it's weird,
and he's
isn't
off
it?
1.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's
what
almost
is that?
like he does a backswing but then negates the backswing but still bombs it.
He's sort of vibrating like he's jogging on the spot before he swings and letting go like that. And then sort of
really
grips it and goes and then pulls and then whack.
He stops at the last minute.
And
he's
then settles,
shaking, yeah.
and then just goes boom. I'm going like, I wonder what he's off. And then it said 1. I went,
yeah, but
joking.
In saying that though, in golf, a lot of the drills and things you do, they will often refer to tennis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like especially with your driver and stuff. Like it's a very similar
hand-eye ball,
as
ball
opposed
sport.
to cricket. And it's hilarious. I know a lot of cricket players and most of them play golf.
Yep. Yeah, they do a lot and good golf. A lot of them.
Yeah, really good golf. But they've got to unlearn a lot of things because it's so handsy.
Yeah.
Especially in the subcontinent, it's all about wrists So in golf, when you get your hands too involved, it's your worst nightmare.
That's right, absolutely,
almost every cricketer starts off as a slicer, but we deviated, didn't we? We
no,
brought
it's
up
all
golf.
good. No,
we brought up golf.
That was part 1 of Nollsie's chat with Guy Sebastian. Stay tuned for part 2 next week. If you enjoyed today's show, please like and follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and give the show a rating. We look forward to your company next time on Idol Talking with Nollsie.